Well, social analysis is something very important that needs to be understood as the intellectual efforts that human beings put in systematically understanding the kind of relationships, right? That relates people to institutions, people to history and the past, people to the many various elements that constitute life. And to show that there is not only correlation, there is also causation, which means as human beings, whatever we grow up to become is a result of those processes through which we went, how much of these institutions and structures shaped our own understanding of life, of values, of morality, of even the problems that we do face. And so, to that extent, to do a social analysis is to situate any specific or particular issue that human beings want to solve by showing the root causes within culture, within society itself. Recently, a few years ago, I would say, Father Arturo Sosa, who is the General Superior of the Society of Jesus, had a very interesting conversation as the Jesuits worldwide were preparing to celebrate the 500th anniversary of the conversion of St. Ignatius of Loyola in 2021. And so in that moment, Father Sosa gave an interview. The book is out there for those who might be interested in reading it. But there is a part in this book where Father General is explaining that social issues are not sui generis. It means they are not born from nothing, from nowhere. They do not fall from, out of blue sky. They are human made. And for that reason, for that perspective, when we study, we try to understand the root causes of those problems so that we can begin also as human beings who are actors in history and society to craft solutions and to bring an impact or to imagine, to project actions that will have a change or influence the change that we want to see happen within history, within our institutions, within which we live. So that is the role really of social analysis. It's simply to say we need to put things in context, historical context, in political context, in cultural context, in spiritual context, so that we see how problems that we do face can be resolved in a systematic way to bring about a better, condition or, living conditions of human beings. Yes, that's an important question as well. We are actors of our own lives. To practice social analysis is important, but let me say straightforward, it is not enough, right? Because as human beings, we are very complex human beings. We are intellectual beings, but we're also spiritual beings. And so the moment we do a critical analysis of issues in society, in the community, we're trying to understand them, but we can understand them from a human perspective. We have to know that maybe, the psalmist will tell you, unless we build the house with the Lord, we are toiling in vain. So unless we also listen to the heart, and that is why at the beginning I was talking about the Jesuit tradition of discernment. It means, where do we find God in the midst of all of this? How is God being the origin and the goal, the aim, the achievement, of all of this? So once we bring that element of godliness in every effort that we try to undertake, then we know that we are beginning to bring about solutions that will be lasting, that will not be ideologically bent. Think our problems, but also to think the solutions that we want to propose to our problems. We were given a heart to feel, right? So that we can feel the pains of others, we can feel the maybe, how we want to, which kind of world we wanted to hand over to the next generation. And so we are not becoming like robot or machines that will be just bringing technical solutions to problems that are much complex and that deserve also the moral, spiritual component to them. So just to come back to the question, everyday life requires us to take a hindsight from the issues and problems that we face, be calm, and not react from simply the emotional side of it. Otherwise, we keep escalating the issues, right? Instead of bringing lasting solutions to them, right? And I'm very much like many Jesuits back home involved in issues of peace, and reconciliation because of the history of war, armed conflict, and mineral exploitation. So we really, really invite our leaders, our political leaders, religious leaders, to just come together and think. But as you said, even average people, everyday citizens, must also sit back and think, what role can we play in order to enhance the living conditions in which we find ourselves, in order to appropriate maybe, the solutions that others are proposing to us, and so on and so forth. So just to say, average people, what we teach even, to young people in our retreat centers, in our high schools, in our apostolate and ministries, just that Ignatian spirituality examen, is already a critical thinking. It is already a social analysis, because I am trying to understand the situation within which I evolve, I live, I interact with others, but adding the component of where do I find God in all of this? And what is God asking of me in all of this? How can I react in a godly manner in all of this? So it is that awareness we try to build, in everyday movement, meeting others, interacting with others, addressing their situation and problems. All of that is part of that critical thinking, critical analysis, social analysis, but doubled with the spiritual component, because we are also spiritual human beings. Young people have to listen first of all. I also come from this culture where elderly people are honored and respected, because we believe that they may not have been to school. School is not the only way of acquiring knowledge. There is so much knowledge that people gain by experience. And because they have walked this path, they may know where the ambushes are, and they may warn those who are coming after to avoid those ambushes, or obstacles or hindrances. And so that part of listening, to the elders remains a critical, really important, for the young people. So how can we pass on the wisdom of those who came before us, our ancestors, our elders in the community? It is by teaching young people, first of all, to listen, to listen. One of my formators, intellectual mentor, VY Mudimbe, who has just passed away, was telling me that every time he teaches the undergraduate students, he used to teach in the US, he would remind them of the Benedictine rule, that in a day you have 24 hours, spend 8 hours for sleeping, spend 8 hours for doing work, and spend another 8 hours for doing any other business, including prayer. And he told me young people would always laugh at me and say, oh, those are thinkings of old people. So I think listening is a very important element that we need to continue teaching our young people. And the moment we begin to listen also seriously and deeply, we begin also to react differently, because we grow that awareness of what kind of impacts the youth can have in the world in resolving issues. And I've seen, because I've worked a lot with the youth back in my home country, in the United States, everywhere I've been missioned, I've been involved with the youth ministry. And I can say that what I saw when the youth, the young people are conscious about social issues, they can make a tremendous change, like they can make a difference. In the US, they got involved in diverting sometimes, investments that corporate would put in banks or in corporate communities, because they wanted, a business that is morally and socially responsible. So young people can have that much power and leverage, but they need to be trained and involved in understanding, analyzing, and proposing solutions to the world they want to live in.